You're listening to the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network, home of the #1 sports talk show on the planet.
This is Sports Talk with Hot Sauce, Texas Pete Hot Sauce, the Doug Stewart Show.
Broadcasting live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Follow Stewart Media and Entertainment right now on Facebook and stay connected and locked in for upcoming events like the Couples and Cocktails series, viewing parties, and much, much more. Up next, The Doug Stewart Show, Sports Talk with Hot Sauce.
Yeah!
Exclusively on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network.
Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com, America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. This your boy Doug Stewart for my folks at System 5 Electronics. They're proud to offer my listeners here in the Metro Atlanta area all the way down to Macon, Georgia, the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for that busy lifestyle you lead for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's some of the reasons why you should choose System 5.
Hi, I'm Maceo Brown, President and CEO of System 5 Electronics. We take pride in making sure that security is the #1 thing that we do. And thanks to you, the customer that has supported us, we have grown this company in Southwest Atlanta, where we're creating jobs and opportunities.
Not only is their monitoring station here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this, you own the security alarm system once it's installed. And you get direct access to the owner if you ever got a problem, Mr. Maceo Brown. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736, or online at System5ElectronicsInc.com. That's System5ElectronicsInc.com.
The blind stares of a million pairs of eyes, looking hard but won't realize that they will never see.
The puppetry must stop. We are for real around here. The trillest sports talk show in America. The Doug Stewart Show. Yes! Hey-o! What's happening? What's happening? You are locked and loaded and listening to the livest, the realest, the trillest sports talk show in America, the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you so much for joining your boy on this Wild Out Wednesday. And, yeah, gonna have some fun today for the next 2 hours. Stew style. Yes, sir. Shouts out to all of the dogs and the poodles and all of the Stewies already in the chat room doing what they do. What we got here? Shouts out to my man Rel Scott, Big Smooth, Jungle Brother, That Ninja, King 50, Vince Smooth. Thank you so much. Now, for new listeners, and we do have new listeners every day, so I gotta do this type of thing. I gotta give out reminders. For the new listeners, man, this show is totally interactive. It's basically the Two Live Stews, but it's just one stew. It's me, and one stew is better than no stew. Remember that. One stew is better than no stew. So we have a lot of fun here Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the show is interactive, meaning that you go on Spreaker.com and you follow the show, first of all. You follow the show, and then you jump in the chat room. There's a little picture, and somebody asked me this yesterday. It's like a little cartoon, a picture of a little cartoon talk bubble. You know, like what you used to have in the comic books, I guess they still do. And so all you do is click on that, and then bam, you're introduced to a brand new world of sports talk enthusiasts, trash talkers, ish talkers, and that's the Stewies in the chat room. All right, so there you have it. So I read a lot of chat all day long based on whatever we're talking about on that day, and we have an absolute good time. All right, so the number to the show, though, is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. And once again, it's March 4th, 2015. What we're going to get into today. You can't always go home, man, and we'll get more into that into a second. Shady business in Philadelphia. Curt Schilling putting punks on blast. Punks jump up to get beat down. Yes, Curt Schilling, we'll talk about that. Kentucky survives again against our home state, Georgia Bulldogs. Jameis Winston has like a little meet and greet. So we'll get into all of those stories and anything else that you want to jump into as well if you like on the Doug Stewart Show today. Man, we had a fun time yesterday, man, and Tree is kind of sore at me. If you didn't hear the show on yesterday, we got to this conversation about child support, Michael Jordan and Juanita Jordan and $168 million and all that stuff. And Tree kind of tried to defend the womanly side of it, and the dogs kind of revolted against her. They kind of did, but that's okay. It's just in conversation. This ain't nothing but healthy conversation. That's all it is. That's all it is.
I'm not sore at you.
You're not?
Okay.
I mean, but you didn't act like that earlier. You didn't act like that earlier. You act like you were mad because you got voted for, nominated for a BPA. I mean, but it's okay. You might not win. I mean, you might, but you might not win though, Tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we were talking about that yesterday, and I was giving my side of it, and Tree was defending womanhood, I guess, and wives in the relationships, and so it was a lot of fun with that. And we'll do, whatever it is. I always say this show is 70% probably sports, 30% guy talk. Sometimes based on, if it's a slow day in sports, it might be 50-50, or it might be 60-40 guy talk and dude talk and whatever's going on in the world and entertainment and pop culture, whatever. We're just having a good time, man. I mean, I'm trying to take you away from your worries, your boss on your back. I know how it is. I've been there before. Your boss is on your back like the hag, and you're just trying to get away for a minute and escape. This is a little escape, the Doug Stewart Show. Speaking of escape, man, and fun, and I guess congratulations are in order. Congratulations to Judy Schindlin. You know who Judy Schindlin is? Judy Schindlin is Judge Judy, who just got a new contract extension. Yes, sir. And now listen, and this is like one of the top trending things in America. And you know Judge Judy. Judge Judy is that old, and she is old. What does this thing say? She's 72 years old. That old, decrepit white lady that comes on in the middle of the day, and she's just really nasty. And so I guess that's entertaining. It's nasty. Nastiness is entertaining. And so she gets her contract renewed up to 2020, okay? But that's not really the big news. And she's been on air since 1996, so she's kind of like an icon on daytime TV. The interesting thing about this story is, did you know that Judge Judy makes $45 million a year? Yeah. Judge Judy makes more than Roger Goodell. I had no clue that you can make that much money in doing a TV show, a daily TV show. She's not like she's not like an actor or anything like that. She's not like, any big-time actor, Sylvester Stallone, Samuel Jackson, Denzel Washington. She's not that. She hosts a daily talk show, daily show where she jumps on people's bones and gives them a hard time, and she's a judge, and it's cool. But she allegedly has like 10 million watchers a day, viewers a day to her show, the Judge Judy show, and incredible. I didn't know she made that much money, man. I did not know she made that much money. Did you know that you can make that type of money? I mean, it's Hollywood, and I guess it's all tied to sponsors, and she has a big viewership, so I guess when you think about it, in retrospect, it kind of makes some sense, I guess, because you're selling ads and you're doing all of that type of stuff, the same type of stuff we do around here. We're not making Judge Judy money. I mean, we're nowhere close to Judge Judy money. But that is incredible, man. I thought that was an interesting little story, and a lot of people are talking about it today because she's very surly. She's very surly, very antagonistic, and I guess that's cute. Once again, I guess that's funny. But did you know that Judge Judy made that type of loot? And I guess the bigger question, I'll just throw this out there, kind of like a Dougie Daly, not really a top 5 or anything like that, man. Harken back to your days as a kid, for a lot of us, man, who had a old school grandmama, and we went to their house in the summertime. And, this is back then when grandmamas, they were pretty much retired, and they were older. Now, grandmamas, they'd be 35, 36 years old. And I'm talking about old school grandmamas. And me and my brother used to go to my grandmother's house, man, and all throughout the summer, or whenever my mama dropped us off over there, and we had to sit on the couch, with that hot-ass plastic, and watch daytime soap operas and game shows and all of that stuff, man. So, I mean, give me a fond memory of watching daytime TV. And for me, I guess, an obvious one for most people, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, is like The Price is Right with Bob Barker, man. I damn near knew, The Price is better than most of those grown-ups on that damn show. I watched it so much. I did. And so Bob Barker is a favorite, obviously. Is he still around? I think he's still alive. I think he's still kicking it, but he's old as Methuselah, too. And so we watched that, and we watch all the game shows. And then my grandmother used to love to watch the soap operas, As the World Turns, Days of Our Lives. I don't even know if they're still on or not. And then later on, she got hooked onto the Young soap opera at that time, which was Young, and talking about the Young and the Restless. So, and my brother still watches the Young and the Restless till this day, which is kind of creepy, but hey, that's fine. He likes soap operas, okay? But yeah, man, quick memories on the chat line about daytime TV. Judge Judy make $45 million. So if Judge Judy makes $45 million a year, Victor Newman off of Young and the Restless got to be making about $80 million a year, right? Victor Newman's he's an institution. He's been around forever. That's a daily gig. It's a daily gig, and he's been doing it constant for the last, I'm 45, 30, 35 years. Yeah. Wow. Shouts out to her. Congratulations to her. All right, when we get back from the break, man, you can't always come home. They always have that saying and say that saying, you can always go home. And in this particular situation, that's not the case. We'll talk about Josh Smith when we get back from the break. The Doug Stewart Show. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right. I said billions with a B, okay? A B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one console, a Facebook shopping application, a mobilized, optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on their banner link on thedougsstewartshow.com or the app link for more details. First of all, thank you for listening to The Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on The Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com. Once again, That's Doug at thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at Doug at thedougstewartshow.com. That's Doug at thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there, all right? That's Doug at thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. It is a Wild Out Wednesday, the most fun show in America. And this segment is brought to you by DraftKings. Go to DraftKings.com, create you an account, and get down with this fantasy sports. If you use the promo code STU, I and DraftKings will match your deposit up to $600. But you got to use the promo code STU, and that's on DraftKings. All right, Trey, I see you wave your hand. What's up?
So Eric Braden, which is Victor Newman.
I knew that. I knew his name was Eric Braden.
Okay. So he has a net worth of $25 million, and it says he makes over $700,000 per episode.
He makes how much?
$700,000.
Oh, my
per
damn.
episode.
And I was talking about this. If you're just joining me, in the last segment I was talking about Judge Judy getting a new contract on daytime TV on her TV show, and she makes $45 million a year. So Eric Braden makes $700,000 an episode. I'm trying to do some quick math here. And I guess I should have got you to do the little quick math. Can you do the quick math on how much that is a year probably?
His net worth is $25 million, and that was in 2014.
That sounds kind of low. But yeah, interesting stuff. I did not know these people made that much money. I mean, did you know that?
I didn't know that. I don't want to know that. I want to know about our coins. Like, we need our coins to get like that.
We need our coins to get like that. You're exactly right. Thank you. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug at thedougstewartshow.com. Speaking of getting our coins like that, man, if you'd like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, your company, your business, whatever that may be, man, you can do it. All right, we got a great, unique demo of listeners that love sports, mostly Metro Atlanta, and like to have fun and listening to passionate sports talk. Email me at Doug at thedougstewartshow.com. All right, 404-382-0338. So last night, I guess this is a big story, and for people that don't live in Atlanta, kind of follow me on this story, and I'm going to give you a little background on it. But last night, the Atlanta Hawks beat the Houston Rockets 104-96, which is fantastic in itself. That's right. And so the Hawks have clinched the playoff spot. Yeah, and they've done it in pretty much 20 games less than what it took them to do it last year based on how great they played basketball this year. But the other big story was a former Atlanta Hawk. Actually, two of them came back last night, and Jason Terry. But Josh Smith came back to Atlanta last night. Now, let me just give you a little bit of background on Josh Smith. So Josh Smith played the first 9 years of his career here in Atlanta. He's from Metro Atlanta. He's actually from Powder Springs, Georgia. I think he went to McEachin before he went to that prep school for his last couple of years of high school. And Josh Smith has the fans have kind of a love-hate relationship with Josh Smith. And the reason that I say that is because Josh Smith has kind of been, hard to love. He's made it real difficult for us to love him, and I'm saying us as Atlanta sports fans. And I've thought about it, and I've thought about all the things that Josh Smith did and what he brought to the city. Now, when he was here with Joe Johnson for most of that time, they made the playoffs pretty much every year, but they never did, really make any noise. They didn't go to any Eastern Conference Finals. And the problem, and I kind of dissected this thing, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and people from Atlanta, tell me if you agree or disagree. The really only thing that, and I guess it is a big problem when you think about it, is Josh Smith, his shot selection on the court was so horrible and it got so bad over time that people kind of rebelled against him. Okay, he never really got in any trouble off the court, actually did a lot of great charitable things in the city. Once again, he's from Metro Atlanta, so he's kind of like, the hometown boy type guy. But fans here in Atlanta really could never figure out this guy and how he always felt like, and this is once again the biggest thing that I think the problem that people had with Josh Smith, they can never figure out why this guy continued to, prop himself up behind the three-point line and take three-point shots at a 27-28% hit rate. Okay, as far as making shots from behind the three-point line. So that's really the bigger thing. Josh Smith, when he first got into the league, this guy was a fantastic player, a fantastic young player, okay? This guy was a guy to give you blocks, he'd give you assists, he'd give you steals, and obviously he was a fantastic dynamic player as far as going to the basket, highlight reels, dunks. He actually won a dunk contest at one time. But it seems like that the fans of Atlanta really never embraced him, kind of a little bit like Judge Judy, and had, kind of like a chip on his shoulder. It seemed like he had an attitude problem. I don't know about that, but that's kind of like what people feel about Josh Smith. So after the game last night, okay, that's a little background on Josh Smith. So after the game last night, Josh Smith, in effect, kind of goes off on the city of Atlanta. He says, I had been here for 9 years, and all I did was positive things in the community and with the basketball team. And he also says, those fans are fickle, very fickle and bandwagoners, Smith said. Last night, whenever he took a shot, and particularly when he hit a couple of big three-point shots, which isn't normally the case with Josh Smith, fans really got on him. They booed him. It was very loud, very apparent. And Josh Smith puts his hand over his lips saying, in effect, shh, be quiet. And so fans booed him. And this guy did a lot of great things in the city of Atlanta for this Atlanta Hawks basketball team. Is it right or wrong for fans to boo this guy? I don't know. Is what he's saying about the fans here in Atlanta, the fact that they're fickle and that they're bandwagoners, he actually used that term, and talking about the Hawks fan base and the fact that the team is winning right now, and now the stadium's packed, the arena's packed, and everything's hunky-dory. I'll say a couple of things about this, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. For the most part, Josh was a bright spot on this Atlanta Hawks team for a long time. In relative terms, if you had a scale and you talked about the negative things, that's the three-point shooting and the fact that he really, personality-wise, wasn't that big of a brand here in the city, and then you talk about the positive things that he did for his team. Josh Smith, let's be honest, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Josh Smith was probably the highlight or the attraction to go and watch the Atlanta Hawks for many, many years. So I'm kind of understanding where he's going. The guy is hurt. He put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears here in the city. But at the same damn time, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I understand Hawks fans in saying, we get rid of you, and now we're winning. Because it always seemed like, it was kind of insinuated in the locker room that Josh Smith was some type of quote-unquote cancer. And I don't think really anybody came out and said that from the organization or any of his teammates or anybody like that. So Josh Smith is kind of like one of them amoebas. Not amoeba? Oh, enigma. He's one of those enigmas. Okay, and so it was kind of strange last night watching this guy come back, and subsequently he was with Detroit, And then he's been traded to Houston, and seemingly both places that he's gone, the teams have done better after he left. So what are your thoughts on Josh Smith? I mean, I think that it seems like social media and fans of the Atlanta Hawks are coming down extra hard on this guy. And to be honest with you, he really never did anything really bad in the city. Never gotten any trouble off the court. Once again, did some good things in the city. And let's be honest, I mean, he was one of the main reasons you wanted to go down to the highlight factory. Now, it seems like that our fortunes are changed, and the team is much better without Josh Smith. But I don't know if you should come down as hard on the guy as fans did last night. What are your thoughts? The number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@theDougStewartShow.com. Let me go ahead and grab a call. Caller, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What you want to talk about?
I'm like, it's Stagger. Stagger, what's going on, Doug?
Stagger Lee, what's up, baby?
Hey, I'm just sitting here watching, listening about talking about Josh Smith. I can't believe it, dog.
What do you think, man? What's your thoughts?
First thing I want to say is my old school memory. I just want to go back to the old school, like going up in grandmama's house, listening, watching Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, Days of Our Lives. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to call her by a short name. We used to call her Ho because she used to talk to everybody on the show. So we used to call her by a short.
Yeah, what you got on Josh Smith? What you got on Josh Smith?
I would say he was a ball hound, but a hound is actually a real dog, so I would call him a shit eater, but he's not. The only place in Atlanta that threw down more shots than Josh Smith was in Buckhead. So as far as him getting on the fans, hey, move on, farewell, be out, root, and I'm gone.
Hey, appreciate the call. He called 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@theDougStewartShow.com. Yeah, somewhat of a ball hog. I think people would deem him as well. I don't know about that. I mean, him and Josh or Joe Johnson, once again, they were the focal point of the team. Once again, not a great team. I mean, a decent team, and probably the best way you could put the Atlanta Hawks over the last couple of years of his career here in the city. But not a great guy, not a great teammate, seemingly. I just don't know. I just thought that it was a little bit out of pocket to boo the guy mercifully like he was booed last night. Yeah, he was. And, I mean, he never said anything negative towards the city of Atlanta. He didn't. I can understand if he left the city, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I can understand if he left the city and trashed the city. But based on what I know and by my knowledge, I don't remember Josh Smith doing any of that. Now, was he a ball hog a lot of times? Did he take dumbass shots? He did that. He did do that. But at the same time as well, he gave us a lot of great memories over the years. And I know I'm probably in the minority on my thinking, kind of, I guess it's somewhat giving Josh Smith a pass. But really, when you think about it, and you boil down to the very last compound, what did the guy do? I mean, what did he do? He didn't do anything malice. Once again, he didn't call out fans. He didn't call it the city of Atlanta. This is his hometown. This is his hometown. And if they treat you like that, if fans treat you like that from your hometown, I mean, golly, with friends like that, who needs enemies? You know? So I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on Josh Smith? And this is kind of Atlanta-centric talk. I get that. And this is a national show. We talk about topics and things that happen all over the country and all over the world. But this is kind of a story. This is one of those stories that's trending a little bit. Josh Smith calling out Atlanta fans, calling them bandwagoners. And that whole bandwagon talk, I don't really pay too much attention to that. What else is he going to say? I mean, what else is he going to say at this point? The team is doing very well, and people always talk about this city or that team fans, that team's fan base are bandwagoners. But I think bandwagoning pretty much is protocol for most sports teams in this country. And I remember a couple of years ago when the Boston Celtics, before they got the big three, before they put the big three together, and they were floundering, they sucked, they were horrible, and Mike Bibby played for the Hawks. And I believe they were playing in a series, and Mike Bibby, or no, I don't think they were playing in a series because the Celtics were really bad. That's when they only had Paul Pierce. But Mike Bibby called out the fan base in Boston as being bandwagoners, you know, because Boston Celtics fans have this reputation of being the best fans in basketball, but they weren't showing up to games because they were losing. So it's all relative. If you win, they will show up. They will show up. If you lose, then people figure out they got other better things that they could be doing. It's as simple as that. So I wouldn't take too much, into Josh Smith talking about bandwagoners. Put a good product on the floor, no matter who it is, no matter where it is, and fans will show up. I definitely believe that. So what are your thoughts on that, man? You can hit me in the chat line at Spreaker.com. When we get back from the break, I'm going to read a lot of your chat, and I'm also going to talk about some shady business in Philadelphia, man. And this is the new NFL. This is the day and time we're living in. A prominent, probably the most prominent player on that team is shipped off. We'll talk about it up next on the Doug Stewart Show. Don't go away. First of all, thank you for listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there. All right? That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes! The Doug Stewart Show. The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show. If you ain't stewing, what the hell are you doing? Yeah! This your boy Doug Stewart for my folks at System 5 Electronics. They're proud to offer my listeners here in the Metro Atlanta area all the way down to Macon, Georgia, the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for that busy lifestyle you lead for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's some of the reasons why you should choose System 5.
Hi, I'm Maceo Brown, President and CEO of System 5 Electronics. We take pride in making sure that security is the number one thing that we do. And thanks to you, the customer that has supported us, we have grown this company in Southwest Atlanta, where we're creating jobs and opportunities.
Not only is their monitoring station here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this. You own the security alarm system once it's installed. And you get direct access to the owner if you ever got a problem, Mr. Maceo Brown. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736, or online at System5electronicsinc.com. That's System5electronicsinc.com.
Regulators. We regulate any stealing of his property. We're damn good, too. But you can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. Regulators! Mount up. March 4th, 2015. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Shouts out to everybody in the chat room. I'm going to read some of your chat here in a second. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. And this segment is brought to you by System 5 Electronics. They're proud to offer my listeners in the Atlanta area the most affordable home security monitoring systems. That's right. For as low as $16.50 per month, you own your security system once it's installed. They've been around for over 25 years, so give them a call and tell them that the Doug Stewart Show sent you, and that's System5electronicsinc.com. That's their website address, System5electronicsinc.com, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. We're going to talk about the Leseaan McCoy deal in Philadelphia here in a second. We'll also talk about Curt Schilling and going off on a sissy online, trolling him. So we'll talk about that in a second. But let me read a couple of these chat messages, man. I thank y'all so much for the chat. The chat makes the show. It makes the show what it is. Totally interactive. Yes. Yes, sir. Niner for life. What is Jaworski talking about? It kills me how mediocre players are analysts. Hasselbeck, Jaworski, and Jesse Palmer. I almost think that they kind of do that on purpose by, one, guys that were the best at their position, at the quarterback position in the NFL, a lot of times they don't want to be analysts. So what do? You get the next best thing. You get a guy that can talk about it that was okay and average. I mean, it'd be optimal to have, the best at your position. And they've tried that before in talking about the Puppet Factory, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. They got Emmitt Smith one time. That didn't work out. I mean, Emmitt just wasn't good. Jerry Rice was hanging around there for a little while. He just wasn't good. So I understand what you're saying. You get perturbed when you hear Ron Jaworski, and what Niner for Life is talking about is Jaworski, in effect, said that he would not draft Jameis Winston with the number 1 pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so he's like the first person that said that. And everybody else and all of these analysts and, these guys that do draft analysis have said that Jameis Winston has had the highest draft grade since Andrew Luck, and then before that it was Peyton Manning, and before him it was John Elway. So a very elite company, but if you have the best of both worlds, you could get one of the best players of all time at the position, and then you can get a guy that can do the job and talk well and be able to give you great insight as well as, have all his facts together. So I feel you, Hasselbeck, Jaworski, and Jesse Palmer. And sometimes you look at these guys and you got to remember, a lot of the audience watching ESPN are younger people. They don't know. They don't even remember these guys playing. Me and you know that Hasselbeck, Jaworski, and Jesse Palmer were mediocre at best. We know that. But a lot of people watching, man, they don't know. They don't know, and because they're on there, they're experts. So I feel you, but at the same time, it's a bigger conversation than just the fact that they got these guys on. From JB Jennings, Judge Judy mean as hell, but she paid. You damn right. Guy Shea, damn good stuff listening in. I think Philly just let their season go. McCoy, one of the best in the game. Juan Cruz, Jaworski still harbors feelings against black quarterbacks because of Randall Cunningham took his spot. I mean, I don't think you'll ever be able to prove that. But it does seem like that he has resentment, and I'm not going to even use the term black quarterbacks, against athletic quarterbacks. Yeah, and I've said this before, that I do believe a lot of the ways that these guys spout off about the quarterback position is because they didn't play the game that way, and it's kind of like self-perseverance. If you see more and more of these athletic quarterbacks coming into the NFL, then their relevance on analyzing quarterbacks and the quarterback position is kind of devalued. Because, not only are we going to say what the other person just said in the chat line, that these quarterbacks were mediocre and they weren't even that great, but then you'll say they're commenting and analyzing, a different breed of quarterback that they don't even understand. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm not going to go there with, he has resentment towards black quarterbacks. I'll say this. It does sound like in his analyzation of quarterbacks in the position that he's not a fan of athletic quarterbacks. Said that many, many times. So I feel you, but not really to that level what you were saying, Juan. From KC, if Judge Judy divorces her husband, is he entitled to half of the contract? Yeah, and tying into the conversation we had yesterday about divorce and how silly it seems like that once you get divorced, you get half of somebody's earnings and all the money that they've made when you didn't do nothing. Yeah, that's interesting. From Scotty, Doug, I remember watching Bewitched. I love Lucy and having to watch boring-ass Phil Donahue. My grandma swore that was one good-looking white man. She only had one TV, so I pissed because I couldn't watch Captain Kangaroo. Yeah, I remember the times when there was only daytime TV on, or daytime TV host was Phil Donahue. Like, Phil Donahue was before all of these cats, and everybody and their mamas had a daytime talk show. Wendy Williams, Ellen DeGeneres, Queen Latifah even got her damn daytime talk show. Ricky Lake, all of them. And all of them were preceded by the great Phil Donahue. I remember watching that too. That was on. You would watch Phil Donahue, and I guess Phil Donahue came on like before the soap operas came on. And it was basically a dude doing what all of these daytime talk show hosts do right now, is they have a topic and they discuss it, and they'd have on guests. And Donahue was, kind of like, who did he kind of remind me of? Kind of like Geraldo Rivera. Somebody like that. And Rivera came on after him, but Phil Donahue was the master. He was the original. From Max Jones, the third. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Grandma watched Young and the Restless and Guiding Light. Whole house was shut down and got quiet. Laugh out loud. Get the switch or get put outside with the water hose. Laugh out loud. The good old days. Yeah. I got stories like that where our parents would lock us out of the house. Like you don't see kids go outside right now. When's the last time you see the kid ride a bike? Like, when's the last time you see the kid in your neighborhood ride a bicycle? It just doesn't happen anymore, so it's much different right now. But, yeah, in the summertime, our mother and father would lock us out of the house, lock the damn door. And so what would we do to thirst our quench? We put our head under a spricket, water hose or whatever, and got our nourishment and went on and kept on playing. That's what we did back in the mid-'70s. Okay, it's a different day and time right now. What, Treat?
Douglas?
Yes, you're
if
laughing.
Your parents locked you out of the house, I hate to tell you this, they were not watching soap operas, boo. They were making one.
You're funny. Yeah, that was my mother and father, and that was on the weekend. That story's on the weekend. During the week, we were locked in our grandmother's house watching soap operas all day. But, yeah, on the weekend, we got locked out of the house a lot of times. Yeah, we go back and try to get back into the house, grab a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something, and the door was locked. And now that I think about it, they probably were, knocking boots. I hate to even think about that, though. William Mack, we didn't have cable TV when I was a kid, and my mother set the VCR to record her stories. All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital. The TV was on lock from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So we were outside in the hot-ass sun, ripping and running, playing basketball, working in the neighbor's cow pasture, etc. Ronald Cameron, what's up, y'all? I grew up on Sanford and Son and Good Times, The Jeffersons, and The White Shadow. That's nighttime TV right there, man. That's not daytime TV. But, yeah, The White Shadow was classic. Obviously, I'm the biggest Good Times fan in the history of Good Times. And Sanford and Son and the Jeffersons and all of those sitcoms, man. Yeah, those were the days. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let me read some of this Josh Smith chat. Let me see. I'm trying to pull out a lot of the Josh Smith stuff here. From OG Dion. Josh never played team ball. And, yeah, I guess when you just, break it down once again to this very last compound, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I think that's probably the biggest issue that people had with Josh Smith. And he was just the anti-team player. He was. So I kind of get that. But to the degree in which the Hawks fans went off on the guy last night, I'm not sure about that. Juan Cruz. Was Josh Smith wrong in his assessment of Hawks fans, or our host just said us in referring to the Hawks, yet he is a Lakers fan? You know what I mean. Come on, man. I'm talking about Hawks fans. I root for the Atlanta Hawks. I live in Atlanta have lived in Atlanta for the last 20 years. If they aren't playing my Lakers, I am rooting for the Atlanta Hawks. From Harvey Scott, Josh Smith, underachiever. And that's another thing as well. I feel like Josh Smith could have been so much of a better player if he would have just taken a page out of, I don't know, to a much lesser extent, Dennis Rodman. If he would have taken a page out of Dennis Rodman's book on being a hustle guy, a guy that did all the dirty work and worked on his game in the post and got better, I think he would have been one of the all-time greatest Hawks. But because he had this ball hog mentality and he wanted to be Jeff Hornacek and take three-point shots all the time, I get it. I understand why fans are kind of sour on Josh Smith. KC, Josh Smith needs to know these whole fans ain't loyal. Vince Wright, Empire Tonight, bring it, Andre. Al the Bandit, my daytime TV watching Bozo the Clown on WGN. I always wanted to go on the show and play the grand prize game. We didn't have Bozo the Clown, that show in the South where I'm from. Now, we did have other daytime little shows like that. Like, I remember, if you're from South Carolina, you remember the Happy Rain show. So we had Happy Rain, and everybody wanted to be on Happy Rain, and I guess that was our Bozo the Clown type show in these parts. And I'm sure in Atlanta, they had different type shows as well. Yeah, that type of thing. All right, when we get back from the break, man, we're going to jump into this Leseaan McCoy story coming out of Philadelphia, and I'm going to give you a take that I haven't really heard, man, on Chip Kelly. Don't go away, the Doug Stewart Show. What is 911 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They'll help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers and compromise or penalty abatements. 911 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years' experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you, so they can get you the best possible settlement or solution to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've helped thousands of people solve their tax problems. So, don't play around. Click on their link on my website and let 911 Tax Relief help you in your situation with Uncle Sam.
The Doug Stewart Show.
The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show.
If you ain't stewing, what the hell are you doing? Yeah! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. If you're not stewing, what the hell are you doing? This is the Doug Stewart Show. Wild Out Wednesday. And the number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. I'm going to read some of this chat here before I jump into this Philadelphia Eagles story with Leseaan McCoy, because it kind of pertains to what I'm about to get into. Don't forget, listeners, Stewies, dogs, poodles, don't forget to go into iTunes if you, when you get a second, and give your boy a nice rating. A 5-star rating would be appreciated, as well as a nice review, and it would go a very long way. I mean, I can't even explain to you how big it would be. So when you get a second, go into iTunes on your app store or into your iTunes account on your computer or whatever, and give your boy a nice rating, The Doug Stewart Show, as well as a nice little review. And the review only has to be like 1, 2, 3 words. But the point is, give me that 5-star rating. I really would appreciate it. From Al the Bandit, my daytime TV was watching Bozo the Clown on WGN. I already read that one. Quasikato Haduchu. I'm just going to call you Q, bruh. Because you hit me up on yesterday, and I think I butchered your name yesterday as well. So my man QH, how much does Judge Mathis make? Judge Mathis, and me and Tree were talking about this during the break. Judge Mathis makes $20 million a year. And I mentioned earlier at the top of the show that Judge Judy makes $45 million a year. So, I mean, $20 million ain't nothing to sneeze at, but damn, I mean, why they got to do the brother like that? And I guess his ratings aren't the same as Judge Judy's. From that Doc 12, thanks for my, oh yeah, for the gift. Yeah, I'm not going to even tell you the gift. You're welcome, that Doc 12. And I guess people, they're talking about it in the chat room, so people in the chat room know what gift that I send out to you if you donate to the Doug Stewart Show. And don't forget, you can always do that. Go to thedougstewartshow.com, and there's a donate button to the right side. And in effect, buy your boy a beer. I mean, it's as simple as that. Buy your boy a beer. Donate to the show. It's a vote. A donation is a vote for free speech sports talk, okay, and to independent radio all over this country. And the Doug Stewart Show being able to keep the lights on, okay? So, yeah, buy your boy a beer, and it's a simple philosophy. Just like tipping your waiter. If you go to a restaurant and your waiter's doing a good job, won't you tip them, right? So, I mean, just consider me a waiter. And if you're liking what you're here Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., I mean, show your love with some cash. And we really would appreciate it, man. In all seriousness, we really would appreciate it to donate to the Doug Stewart Show. And if you do, then we send you out a nice little gift. It's a real cool gift. All right? So go ahead and do that, and we would appreciate it. From Eugene Jackson, Chip Kelly his plan is to get DeMarco Murray and the quarterback from Oregon for the Eagles. Now, I want to bookmark that comment just now while we get into this conversation about Leseaan McCoy. If you haven't heard, the Philadelphia Eagles have a trade in place. It's not done yet to send running back Leseaan McCoy to the Buffalo Bills. In return, they're going to get linebacker Kiko Alonso to the from the Philadelphia Eagles, or to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, some of the backdrop on this story, obviously Leseaan McCoy, his cap number was going to be about $12 million this year. And in this day and time in the NFL, teams aren't willing to pay that. Let's just be honest. And I hate it, and I played running back my entire life. And when I was growing up, the running back position, and most of us listening to the show, the running back position was the glamour position in football. It was, even more so than the quarterback, I could argue. I mean, the biggest names coming out when I was growing up were the running backs. You know, O.J. Simpson, Franco Harris, Tony Dorsett. They were bigger in name, I believe, looking back at it, than your Terry Bradshaws and your Roger Staubachs. They were. Or on the same platform, the same level at least. Okay, but it's a different day and time now. It's much more of a passing league, and there's much less of an emphasis on the running back position. And these coaches now, the schemes are so intricate that they figure they can out-scheme you, so we don't want to pay a lot of money on a running back. And that's pretty much what it is. And so that's what this is really all about, and them trading Leseaan McCoy. But also I think there's more to the story as well. Now remember, they got rid of Deshaun Jackson last year as well. And now they're getting rid of Shady McCoy. And what this screams to me, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, is that these guys' presence on the team was more than what Chip Kelly wanted. And Chip Kelly also was a college-minded coach still at heart, in my opinion, where these guys, their voice in the locker room was probably more than what Chip Kelly bargained for. You feel what I'm saying? Deshaun Jackson and Leseaan McCoy are guys that did a lot of interviews, and they were big voices in the locker room. And I don't think Chip Kelly likes that culture. I don't. I really don't think so. So he was like, first of all, we can kill a couple of birds with one stone. We can get rid of this guy that's got this big mouth in the locker room, for lack of a better term. And then we can save some money on the cap, and we can help build this defense. Now, Leseaan McCoy, even though he got like 1,300 yards last year, you can kind of see he's not the same. He's still a fantastic player, but you can tell he's starting to go downhill just a little bit. And you know what happens to running backs later in their career, even though he isn't nearing that 30-year-old mark right now. I think he's like 26 years old. But still, he's a running back. He's had a lot of carries, and so they got his ass out of there. Now, if you're a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, man, how do y'all feel about this? I mean, this is one of your brightest and your most exciting players. Same conversation you could have about Josh Smith. You may not have liked Josh Smith. You may have thought that he was the ultimate anti-team player, which is a lot of it's true, but Josh Smith was exciting. And Shady McCoy, his nickname, was an exciting player, a marquee player for the Philadelphia Eagles over the last couple of years. And another thing that kind of strikes me about this is that whole conversation talking about Chip Kelly and how he's trying to, bring in a lot of his guys. This player, Kiko, that they're going to bring on is one of his players at Oregon, and now this will make 9 players on the Philadelphia Eagles team that played for Oregon, that Oregon program. This kind of reminds me of what went down in the NFL with Steve Spurrier. You remember Spurrier was the head coach of the Washington Redskins, and you remember he started bringing in all of these Washington Redskins or all of these Florida Gator players. He brought in Danny Woolford. He brought in Shane Matthews. I can't remember the tall receiver's name right now. He brought in a couple of their receivers, and it didn't work. And you know that story. The rest is history. So you got to be very careful. And now Chip Kelly, he's done relatively good his first couple of years in the NFL. So I think that he's probably surpassed what Spurrier has done or did do in the NFL his short time in Washington. So that's not an exact comparison. But you got to be careful. You got to be careful with bringing in all of these college guys and guys that played good for you when you were at Oregon as the head coach and think that that's automatically going to translate into winning games in the NFL. I'm not saying it won't, and maybe Chip Kelly will prove that it can work, but we've seen this story before, in particular with Steve Spurrier. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. And if you're Philadelphia and you're an Eagles fan and you bought your kid a Shady McCoy jersey and he was pretty much the highlight of the Philadelphia offense over the last couple of years, 4 or 5 years, and then he's just shipped out to Buffalo, which is another aspect of the story. You got to be careful with that as an organization, as a team. Now, I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing, or they think they know what they're doing. Let's see if it works. I mean, because you're talking about a dynamic player, once again, in Leseaan McCoy. So what are your thoughts on the Philadelphia Eagles and what they're doing? And at the same time, also in Buffalo, man, they basically separated or parted ways with C.J. Spiller, who's been a very good player for them for the last couple of years out of Clemson, but he's had some little nagging injuries. Once again, a dynamic player, but he's a running back. And Rex Ryan, now the head coach there, you think they want to bring in more of a ball control offense, so they need a solid running back. So I think it's a good move for the Buffalo Bills. What are they going to do at quarterback? They get rid of C.J. Spiller, and they bring in this this running back that can carry a heavy load there for the team and for that offense. So they're going to win with defense, which they've already got a good defense in Buffalo. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. They've got a solid defense in Buffalo. Probably only going to get better now that they got Rex Ryan. And they're going to play ball control on offense. And you need a good back to do that, and that is Leseaan McCoy. What are your thoughts? 404-382-0338. I don't know, man. I don't know about this whole, trying to surround yourself with players that were very good in college and think that's going to work in the NFL. We'll see. We will see. And now, this also may mean that they're trying to clear up some room to move down, trade some players, and ultimately get Marcus Mariota. That's also been some conversation out there as well. Once again, Chip Kelly bringing in his college players. Didn't work too well for Steve Spurrier. You got to be careful, Chip. You got to be careful. All right, hour number 2 of the Doug Stewart Show coming up. And what we'll do is rehash some of this stuff we talked about in the first hour, as well as getting into this Curt Schilling story. All right? So don't go away. The funnest show on turf, the Doug Stewart Show. System 5 Electronics is proud to offer my listeners in the Atlanta area the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for your busy lifestyle for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's just a few reasons to choose System 5. Not only is their monitoring station located here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this, you own your security alarm system once it's installed. Not only have they been around for almost 25 years, but their customer service is excellent. And you get direct access to the owner, Mr. Maceo Brown, to resolve any issues with your alarm system. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736. And make sure and tell them the Doug Stewart Show sent you. Yes! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com, America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. This is your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-File, prescription savings, and fully encompassed prepaid legal benefits that include identity theft. They got you back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedugstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes. I feel good, man. This is a Wild Out Wednesday. And what did we hit today, man? Talked about a lot of little stuff, man. Josh Smith coming home to ATL. It wasn't a pretty sight last night. Shady business in Philadelphia. And in a minute, man, we're going to talk about that Curt Schilling story. Speaking of which, man, also last night I was kind of flipping back and forth between the Hawks and the Rockets and the Kentucky Wildcats taking on the Georgia Bulldogs. And I watched more so of that Kentucky game. I'm really trying to get more into college basketball. Obviously, the tournament's coming up, so I need to try to get to know about a lot of these teams and players. And so I watched Kentucky a couple of times this year, but watching this game last night very intently, man, and I'm going to tell you something, man. I don't see how this team is going to lose. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and I'm only going to briefly talk about this. But they win last night, beating Georgia 72-64. Georgia actually had an opportunity to win this game. Georgia was up by 8 or 10 points late in the game, and it just wasn't enough. Kentucky got 9, 10 dudes that are going to play in the NBA. And this Towns dude last night has a good game, 19 points. Karl Anthony Towns and Willie Cauley-Stein, who's just a beast, a ton of tattoos all over the place. But they got like the perfect lineup. they've got the perfect lineup. They got Trey Lyles at the forward position, who's a guy that can do a ton of stuff. Then they got the Harrison boys, brothers, who probably know each other's games like the back of their hand because, hell, they're brothers. They're twin brothers. And then you got these 2 7-footers in the middle. And like they're alley-ooping and they're getting dunks left and right. And it's not even fair. And Georgia put on a good fight last night. The kid, what's the kid that had the major ups last night? He got a couple of dunks last night. What's his name? Gaines, the Gaines kid. Last night plays good. Marcus Thornton plays good as well. Jurisic plays good as well, but it's just not enough. And you can tell they wore them down. And Kentucky's got they've got 2 starting fives. Like their second starting five that they can roll in, everybody off the bench, could probably start for 95% of the college basketball teams in this country. And it's just too much. It's just too much. Now, they've had some scares this year, but when it comes down to nut-cutting time, and I think I can say that, when it comes down to nut-cutting time, man, they're just too much. It's just too much to handle, and I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to go undefeated, man. They've only got one regular season game left against Florida. They're probably going to win that. They're 30-0 right now. The tournament, the SEC tournament, then rolls around, and it's just like they're tuning up to win this whole thing. I think they're definitely going to win it. Will they go undefeated? Once again, my guess is that they will, but it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment of riches that Calipari has got there in Kentucky, man, in Lexington, and my gosh, I mean, they literally got modern day Twin Towers, Ralph Sampson and Olajuwon with Stein and Towns, man, just unbelievable. And Calipari, man, I mean, hey, you got to give him credit. And I'm not a Calipari fan. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I'm not a Calipari fan. For the life of me, I don't understand how he gets the talent that he does. For the life of me, I can't understand why the NCAA hasn't been able to find any real dirt on this guy. And they did at one time when he was at UMass. A lot of their wins were stricken from the record because of some impropriety. I don't remember exactly what it was. But I'm talking about recently. I'm talking about over the last couple of years when every time you turn around, he's getting, the Derrick Roses of the world and the Harrison twins of the world and just the best. I mean, I think they've got 9 McDonald's All-Americans. Huh? How can you on one team get 9 McDonald's All-Americans? And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show on one team. And then you know what's going to happen. Half of the team's going to go to the NBA next year, and he's just going to retool. He's going to stock up, restock. And it's like they won't even skip a beat. And I'm not going to get back into that whole thing about Calipari and some of his dealings, his under-the-table dealings. And my brother is a big fan of Calipari, and we used to go back and forth. What was that guy's name? The supposed dude. He's got like a go-between guy, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Something, I can't remember it, but anyway, somebody will tell me in the chat room. He's got like this go-between guy that the Puppet Factory has actually done stories about, where this guy goes and gets players like a bag man, where he goes and gets these high school players to come and commit to play basketball for Kentucky and for some of the teams that Calipari has coached. But they can never connect them. They can never tie these guys together. They can never do it. And right now it's just speculation. It's really just speculation at this point that Calipari is doing anything under the table. They don't have anything on him, once again. But it's just very, very odd. It's very odd. It's very strange that this man continues to amass talent like we have never, ever seen before. Now, I guess it is a selling point to these players, especially over the last couple of years, that I don't have a problem with you coming here, helping me win a title, and then leave after 1 year. And he's been the guy, in front of that whole mentality more so than anybody else, and I get that. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. So I guess I do kind of get that aspect of it, but he's not the only one doing that now. Like, how does he get 9 McDonald's All-Americans to come play for him? It's unbelievable to me. And it's very suspect. And I've been a guy saying that for a very long time. It's very suspect. He's not the only guy saying it's cool for you now in this day and time of college basketball to come play for our program for a year. And if we feel like that you're good enough and you feel like you're good enough and your family feels like you're good enough to leave after 1 year, that I won't try to hold you up. I won't try to stop you. That I'll actually, welcome that with open arms. He's not that only guy anymore. So how does he continue to do it? I don't know, man. I'm not a Calipari fan. I'm just not. Me or the studio audience. That's right. Something's going on, Dougie. And that's exactly right. And so they win last night again, and I just don't see how they're going to lose. I don't see how they're going to lose. They have to have a real bad night for them not to lose. And listen, last night they had probably one of the worst night shooting ever this year. I can't imagine they had a worse night shooting than they did last night. They couldn't hit the backside of a barn for much of that game last night, and they still found a way to win. They did, okay? So I don't know. What are your thoughts on Kentucky basketball? You think they're going to win? What are your thoughts on Calipari? You think something's shady going on? And I can't remember the guy's name right now, the go-between guy, the bag man, quote-unquote bag man, allegedly, that works with Calipari. But somebody will tell me in the chat room in a second here. Let me read some of that chat. The number is 404-382-0338. And you can also email me at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. His name is Worldwide Wes. That's it. Worldwide Wes. That's the guy's name. The go-between between Cal and these players. Allegedly. I got to make sure I say that. Allegedly. And, so ESPN actually did a story on him many years ago. I think they even did one in Sports Illustrated, and basically chronicling his relationship with this guy. And this guy is like the person that goes and gets these players. There's some type of agreement, supposedly, allegedly, between Cal and this Worldwide West guy. Yeah, 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. John Fisher, I think Chip Kelly trying to get Reggie Bush for the Lolo. We'll see, maybe. Niner for life. Florida quarterbacks are like Duke basketball players, good in college, but just average or below on the next level. Exactly. I made that comparison earlier about Danny Warfel. And Danny Warfel was, I think he probably went down at the time as probably one of the greatest quarterbacks in college football history. But in the NFL, he absolutely sucked. He sucked. There's no other way to look at it. And Steve Spurrier, the whole comparison, once again, trying to get his college players because they did good in college. A lot of time that bullshiggity don't work in the NFL. It's as simple as that. And Spurrier found out the hard way. We'll see if it comes back to haunt Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. KC, Greg Schiano tried to bring in all these Rutger players when he was the coach of my Buccaneers. How did that work out for him? Exactly. JB Jennings, Doug, that's a great analogy comparing Spurrier to Chip Kelly. This is a players' league. You can't expect for all your players to be followers and fall right in line. You need some outspoken leaders who can ball. It's not all about your system. And I didn't even mention that in my whole diatribe about Chip Kelly earlier. Man, I'm not saying I'm totally against systems, and I'm not saying Chip Kelly isn't a great coach, but the big thing about being a college coach and a pro coach is you got to treat men like men. This isn't college anymore, okay? And you having this mentality and trying to get rid of strong personalities, seemingly, in Deshaun Jackson and Leseaan McCoy, because you're used to a situation where you can control everybody's mind because they're 17 and 18-year-old, that's going to get old real quick. If you're trying to bring in guys because they have an affinity for you because you coached them at one point and subsequently you think that you can control their minds more, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. He's a grown-ass man, and even the players that he had in college, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, even the players that he had in college are older now, and they're more mature now, and they're going to think for themselves more now than what they did when they played for you in college. So getting rid of some of these, guys that had big personalities or more outspoken than you would like in your locker room, that's not going to work, man. And I hope that's not the case totally, but it kind of seems like that. And we've seen a couple of different examples. We talked about a couple of different ones. Greg Schiano in Tampa Bay and Steve Spurrier in Washington. That stuff ain't going to fly, man. These grown-ass men. These grown-ass men, you got to be careful. Once again, I mean, he's done fairly well for the first couple of years. And this may work out. Whatever way he does it, it may work out. But history has shown us you got to be careful. You got to be careful, man. And trading away one of your best players, probably your best player on your team, safe to say that Shady McCoy was the best player on that team, right? And even before that, you can make an argument that Deshaun Jackson was the best player on that team. And you get rid of both of them? That doesn't make sense. You don't do that. You don't get rid of your two best players. Who does that? Who does that? Yeah, so you got a lot of confidence in your system and the way you do things and this college rah-rah crap and bringing in my former players. Ooh-wee, boy. Ooh. You walking a slippery slope. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, Eagles fans, you better watch your coach. Don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show. First of all, thank you for listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there, all right? That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes!
The Doug Stewart Show.
The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show.
If you ain't stewing, what the hell are you doing? Yeah! This your boy Doug Stewart for my folks at System 5 Electronics. They're proud to offer my listeners here in the Metro Atlanta area all the way down to Macon, Georgia, the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for that busy lifestyle you lead for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's some of the reasons why you should choose System 5.
Hi, I'm Maceo Brown, President and CEO of System 5 Electronics. We take pride in making sure that security is the number one thing that we do. And thanks to you, the customer that has supported us, we have grown this company in Southwest Atlanta where we're creating jobs and opportunities.
Not only is their monitoring station here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this. You own the security alarm system once it's installed. And you get direct access to the owner if you ever got a problem, Mr. Maceo Brown. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736, or online at System5ElectronicsInc.com. That's System5ElectronicsInc.com. If you're not stewing, what in the hell are you doing? This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you so much for joining your boy. Yes. Yeah. Shouts out to everybody in the chat room. I really do appreciate all of the love in the chat room, man. Y'all make the show interactive. Yes, sir. Totally interactive, man. And talking about these sports as we do every single day, man. This is the realest, trillest sports talk show in America. the Doug Stewart Show, man. Pass the word. I mean, give the gift of the Doug Stewart Show, and I really would appreciate it. And your friend that you passed the word to, they'll appreciate you too, man. They will. I'm telling you. We're about to cross over 100,000 listens to the show. That's incredible. In just 6 months, over 100,000 listens to this show. Creeping up on 4,000 followers. But we got many more followers to the show than that. But 4,000 people that have officially hit that follow button on Spreaker.com. All right. But we got a lot of people that listen on other means as well, on the DougStewartShow.com, the website on the Doug Stewart Show app, which you can find in iTunes, your app store, all over the place. I mean, we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on iHeartRadio. We are all over the place, man. Thank you so much for making this show wildly successful in just 6 months. Well, we got to continue to get the word in. As great as I just talked about how fantastic show is doing right now, I mean, I'm going to guess 97, 98% of people that used to listen to the Two Live Stews don't know that I'm on. And it's just because of the platform, and it's online, and people are just used to listening to terrestrial radio, and so they don't got the word, all right? And so we had fans and people that listen to the Stews all over America. We were syndicated for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 different years, or 5 or 6 years on Reach Media and on Sporting News Radio. And so we got people that listen to the show all over the country, and they just don't know. If they aren't my friend on Facebook or follow me on Twitter, they don't know. So continue to pass the word and tell people about the Doug Stewart Show. At some point here, I'm going to get into this conversation about Curt Schilling and trolling online. But let me read some more of this chat because, I mean, that's what we do. From, who do we got here? Redland Kirk. So, Doug, you telling me Aaron Hernandez shoots a man in the face and he was still able to play in the league? Yeah. Yeah, if you heard the story I talked about yesterday, Aaron Hernandez, I think in 2011, shot another friend in the face. And actually, the guy lived and the guy testified about what exactly happened. But here's the thing. It was kind of like a situation where they settled it out of court. And I guess it was a situation where Aaron Hernandez didn't have to admit to guilt or anything like that. But the story is out there. The guy has told his story. And it happened exactly like this Olin Lloyd guy that got killed a couple of years ago, and they're trying to pin on Aaron Hernandez. The same exact scenario. Yeah, that's not a coinkydink. Yeah. So, yeah, they knew the story. The organization, the NFL had wind of this story. And Aaron Hernandez was allowed to continue to play football. From Max Jones III, Cleveland fans is the worst. Speaking of bandwagon, check it. Live in Ohio, LeBron went to South Beach, and you couldn't see a Cavs fan. Now he's back in Cleveland, and Cavs fans everywhere. Stop it. I'm a Laker fan. Win, lose, or with or without Kobe, keep it real. And he's exactly right. Yeah, and I've struggled with the Lakers during some rough years. Now, listen, being a Laker fan is fantastic, obviously. What, they got 17 world championships? So we've had a lot of great times, but don't get it twisted. We've had a lot of bad times as well. And I never even considered jumping off the bandwagon and rooting for another team. Never. And that's what being a fan is all about. I'm talking about the Kwame Brown days, the Smush Parker days. I mean, just some bad times. Right now is a horrible, horrible time. But you'll never see me get off the Laker bandwagon. Never. Ever, 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 ever. From Scotty, Chip Kelly got it twisted. Dude thinks he's the attraction in Philly. He better be careful because if they suck this year and miss the playoffs, he may get some D batteries thrown at his ass. And that's what they do in Philadelphia. They throw D batteries at your ass. They do. Jungle Brother, I'm not hating on my fellow Stewies, but Josh Smith attributes are being disrespected because of his shot selection. Dude rebounds, block shots, and he's a shutdown defender. I'm not going to say he was a shutdown defender. He was a guy that did a lot of or accumulated a lot of great stats defensively as far as steals, rebounds. He used to do that willingly when he first got into the league. But I don't think Josh is a great on-the-ball defender. Juan Cruz, BPA nominee. But I do kind of agree with a lot of what you're saying based on what I said earlier in today's show. I think that the fans came down too hard on Josh Smith last night, in my opinion. I mean, there's been a lot of bad times with Josh, but I think the good times outweigh the bad times. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, he's a ball hog. Yes, his shot selection was horrible, but Josh Smith was really one of the main reasons that the Atlanta Hawks organization sold tickets for many years. So you could go see Josh Smith, Jay Smooth, from King Kane, BPA to Jerry Jones or Stephen Jones or whoever in the hell gave Cole Beasley $13 million. Yeah, Cole Beasley got a new contract. And I don't know, I didn't even pay attention to the story that much to see how much of the contract was guaranteed or how much money he was getting up front. But third down receiver, yeah, I mean, he made some plays this year, and I guess that's the market for wide receivers right now. And I guess they feel like they got things cooking and they got a good thing going once again, and they want to keep the guy. But $13 million, I did see that headline like, damn, they gave that little dude, that little bootleg Wes Welker a lot of money. And that's what they did. That ninja. Anytime there are any top quarterbacks who descend from colonizers, the four networks, the four-letter network says the quarterback draft is weak, bias. Real people music. I just want a big up Pop Stewart for getting a little day session in. I can only get them locked out for about an hour. Yeah. If I tried to lock my kids out now, like my old man used to do with us and get a little peace, my wife would call social services on me. Yeah, it's just a different brand of people now. Like now, if it's found out that you locked your kid out of the house for an hour or so, your neighbor would probably call the police on you. I mean, parents are just soft these days and times. They are. Absolutely soft. Redland Kirk again. How do you think Josh Smith is going to be a team player when his dad is telling him, shoot it, shorty, just keep shooting it? Yeah. And if you've never heard that story before, once again, we got new listeners all the time. We get new listeners all the time. So I told a story, and this happened many, many years ago, probably 5-6 years ago, when Josh Smith was probably like the midpoint of his career here in Atlanta. He played for the team for 9 years. And so Shaggy, our former producer, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, our former producer Shaggy's at the Hawks game, and there was already this talk out there about Josh Smith being a ball hog and why the hell does he keep shooting these threes. And once again, Josh is from Metro Atlanta, okay? So he grew up in Cobb County, McEachin High School, and Shaggy's at this game. And this talk is already out there once again about Josh being this ball hog and taking these bad these 3-point shots. And Shaggy witnessed, allegedly, Josh Smith's dad on the sideline. And Josh Smith was in one of these little zones where he was just shooting threes and missing. But he didn't care. And Shaggy allegedly witnessed Josh Smith's dad on the sideline after Josh had missed another three-pointer running up the court. Josh Smith's dad, quote, unquote, says to him, keep shooting it, shorty. Just keep shooting it. Now, it was funny because if you know Atlanta people and younger people in general, which is kind of strange that Josh Smith's dad was saying this, they throw around the term shorty. Just like people say man, go ahead, shoot it, man. They use the term shorty in its place. And so Josh Smith's dad is just doing this motion, this shooting motion with his hand, telling his son, Josh Smith, keep shooting it, shorty. Keep shooting it. Yes. Just keep shooting it, shorty. So evidently, Josh is being urged to continue to take these bad shots from his dad. That's the crux of the matter. That's the moral of the story, is that why does Josh Smith take these bad shots? Why does he continue to take these bad shots? And based on this story from Shaggy, his dad is urging him to do this. Don't worry about what people are saying. You just play your game, son. Even though you're taking some of the worst attempts that basketball has ever seen, just keep shooting it, shorty. Keep shooting it. Go ahead. Oh, and the story is probably a lot funnier when Shaggy tells it, because Shaggy's just funny like that. He was funny like that. But, man, yeah, just keep shooting it, Shawty. Go ahead. It'll be all right. It'll start falling for you. Every time I tell that story, man, I got to laugh because it's so funny. It's so funny if you knew the time and all of this was going on. And we couldn't figure it out for the life of us. Josh isn't stupid. You know, surely the coach is telling him not to take these bad threes, but I guess in his mind, if his daddy says it's cool, then it's cool. And it really tickles me. It really tickles me, man. All right. When we get back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about this Curt Schilling story, and then I'm going to read more of your chat. The funnest show on turf. The show that's going to keep on shooting it, shawty. We're going to keep shooting it on the Doug Stewart Show. That's right. Yeah. Don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right. I said billions with a B, okay? A B. Well, just do it and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one console, a Facebook shopping application, a mobilized, optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on their banner link on thedougsstewartshow.com or the app link for more details. First of all, thank you for listening to The Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on The Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougsstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougsstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there, all right? That's doug@thedougsstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. Come on, ride that train. Shoot, ride it. This is the Doug Stewart Show. And it's a Wild Out Wednesday. Man, this is when Atlanta was Atlanta. This was right in the wheelhouse of when I moved to the city, man. That Come On, Ride This Train. And I think the name of that group is, the Quad City DJs. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. But the Quad City DJs had Atlanta on fire. Yes, and they're from Florida, but it also sounds like that other tune that they did. It was another tune or another two or three of them that sounded real alike back during that era. I can't even remember the names of those songs right now. But this is classic ATL, late 90s. This is the Doug Stewart Show. The number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. But the easy way to be totally interactive is the chat line on Spreaker.com. So follow the show on Spreaker. Jump in the chat room. There's a little comic book chat, little bubble. All you do is click on that, and bam, you're in the chat room. You can chat and make posts and be interactive, as well as make sure you download my app from your app store, thedougstewartshow.com. And also, make sure that you rate the show on iTunes and leave a quick little couple of words rating the show or commenting on the show on iTunes as well. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. Curt Schilling had this little back-and-forth beef with a couple of guys on Twitter. On Sunday, Schilling penned a 1,700-word blog post exposing some of the Twitter trolls who had been harassing him by sending sexually explicit messages about a 17-year-old daughter who had publicly congratulated for getting into college. And the young lady's going to play softball in college like that, so she's a pitcher. And so evidently these troll guys are Yankees fans. And so basically he went off about them, basically exposing these guys to the world and some of the vile things they were saying about his daughter. Let me just say this, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I've said it before that a lot of times when we first got into radio, especially when we were on another station, on that other station, that we used to get hate mail galore. And I wish that I would just have kept some of that stuff just to let some people see it or talk about it. But very early, I realized that, people are a-holes, and that I wasn't even going to waste my time to read most of that stuff. So 9 times out of 10, when I get an email at the time, because we didn't have all these social networking things, that I'd read the first line and realize that it was somebody just trying to throw shade or be nasty or negative or call me something out of my name, that I just delete it instantly, and pretty much that's my philosophy on 90% of this stuff is I'll just ignore it. I'm not even going to give somebody that ability to get under my skin. I'm just not going to do it. So I'll just delete it and ignore it. A lot of times I'll delete that person if we're talking about social networks now, as far as Facebook and Twitter or whatever. I'll just delete them, And it's as simple as that. But when you start talking about a man's daughter, somebody that you've never met, that's the lowest of the low right there. I don't know how you can get any low. And you're talking about nasty things. You can find what these guys were saying about Curt Schilling's daughter, and it was very nasty and very sexually oriented, and it was just horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And I like it. I like what he did by basically what he did is he took screenshots and then he reposted it on social networks for the world to see. And I've actually done that before to a much lesser degree, not where somebody was actually coming at me, but there was I can't remember exactly what the topic was, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, but there was a topic that we were having on my Facebook page, and somebody came in, somebody that I wasn't familiar with. And now a lot of people that are my friends or followers on Twitter, I don't know them because, I'm somewhat of a public figure. So fans of the show may not be personal friends, are friends and followers on Twitter and on Facebook. So this person started going on and off and using this racial stuff and using the N-word. And I'm like, what, are you kidding me? And so I'm saying to myself, I know that this guy's friends don't know that he's actually like this or that he's this vile and he would say these type of things. So I took a screenshot and posted it on his page, okay? And I just kind of wanted to expose this guy to his friends and his family, which chances are a guy like this, a lot of his friends and his family are just like him themselves. But I just felt like that, this guy needs to be exposed to his casual acquaintances. They need to know what type of guy this is. So I applaud Curt Schilling for doing the same thing, man. And we've said it before. We actually came up with the term, keyboard courage. These cats got keyboard courage. These are people that would never say these things to you in your face, but because they're 1,000 miles away, they believe, have anonymity and aren't going to be revealed to the world, that they can just say and do anything they want. No, man. I mean, 9 times out of 10, these guys are punks, they're sissies, and they're cowards. But they got keyboard courage. They want to talk about the man's daughter. And, I mean, that's crossing the line to a point where I can't even fathom, for you to say the type of things. And you can find it, once again, you can find it online with these guys were saying it was 2 guys. And in particular, I'm going to throw out their names for you right now myself to give them even more shade. Sean McDonald and Adam Nagel. They both since deleted their accounts. One of these guys was a college student going to Brookdale Community College. So if you know this guy, here's the type of person you that he really is, where he's a student. And this Sean McDonald guy was terminated by the Yankees, and he hosted some type of radio show or something like that. But both of these guys are Yankees fans. This Sean McDonald guy and Adam Nagel guy. And deplorable, man. They should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, seriously. I mean, how screwed up are you to talk about someone that you don't even know, their child, in this manner? I mean, they need to ass kick, first of all. They need to ass kick to the ultimate of ass kickness-tivity. And they also need to be exposed, and that's what was done. So I applaud Curt Schilling on that. I know he probably wants to get his hands on these dudes. I know he does. But that's bad. And I don't know at what point somebody's going to do something about or try to legislate. And there's been some conversation about legislating the internet and what can and cannot be placed on the internet. I don't know if that's going to ever happen, but you just can't do this, man. You just cannot go after someone's kids in that manner. I mean, period. You shouldn't. I mean, kids, family members are off limits, period. Should be off limits, period. But in the manner that these 2 a-holes did it, Sean McDonald and Adam Nagel, it's embarrassing, man. That's embarrassing. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. And talking about all these different little stories out there in the world of sports, reading a lot of your chat, talking about Chip Kelly, talking about some shady stuff going on in Philadelphia with Shady McCoy, as well as anything else you want to talk about in the world of sports. When we get back from the break, I'm going to talk also about Jameis Winston. He's actually met with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He met with them on yesterday. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I've said it before. They need to go ahead and just acknowledge that this is the guy they're going to pick and go ahead and give him their playbook. Go ahead and get a guy's playbook. Let him get an early start. Why not? Go ahead and get an early start with Jameis Winston as your quarterback. So I'll talk a little bit about that when we get back from the break. Look at it. Show's almost over. Unbelievable. The fastest 2 hours on radio, baby. Right here on the Doug Stewart Show. We got some people holding the line. So we'll grab a call or two if we have the opportunity when we get back. And I'll also read more of your chat before we get out of here. This is the Doug Stewart Show. What is 911 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They'll help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers and compromise or penalty abatements. 911 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years' experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you. So they can get you the best possible settlement or solution to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've helped thousands of people solve their tax problems. So don't play around. Click on their link on my website and let 911 Tax Relief help you in your situation with Uncle Sam.
The Doug Stewart Show.
the place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show.
If you ain't stewing, what the hell are you doing? Yeah! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play. So, you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU.
She do it all night. She going hard, right?
Empire on tonight.
Spotlight. She make that thing go.
This is the Doug Stewart Show. And in the background, you hear Hakeem from Empire. Drip drop. And Empire on again tonight. This is the Doug Stewart Show. So speaking of Empire, man, I'm sure you've seen, and I haven't talked about it. I kept meaning to talk about it. I'm sure you've seen the story on Monique coming out and saying that the producer or the director for Empire, and who also directed Precious and 5 Years a Slave, I believe. Maybe he didn't do that one. I'm not sure. But Lee Daniels has come out and basically said that Lee Daniels said that she was blackballed from Hollywood because when she got her Oscar for Precious, she wasn't gracious enough, and she didn't play ball. And so this guy, Lee Daniels, is the producer, executive producer, director, or whatever, of Empire. And I'm going to tell you what, man, I'm not a fan anymore. If I ever was a fan in the first place, I'm definitely not a fan of that guy. Now, I'm a fan of this TV show. I'm definitely a fan of this TV show. So it made me feel some type of way when I heard this guy come out and say these things about Monique. Basically, what he was saying, in effect, is that Monique needed to, and I guess it's all about how you look at it, that Monique needed to grovel more. And maybe that's too strong of a word. I don't know. But I heard Monique's side of the story, and it's a long, convoluted story. But I'm more so after hearing her thoughts about they wanted her to do some type of promotional thing, and her explanation was they weren't paying me. But that wasn't even the big aspect of it. The big aspect of it was she wanted to stay home with her family. So on that whole argument between those two, and I'm sure you've seen it online on Facebook and on Twitter, I kind of side more with her. You know, I understand what he's saying about his business and this, that, and the other, but he was saying basically in effect that she needed to be more political. And I'm not that person. I'm just not inherently that person where you got to play that politic game. And probably to the detriment, obviously, in the Two Live Stews and the way we did radio and the way that we left our last gig on radio. So I kind of identify with a lot of what Monique was saying. I get that, but the whole crux of that conversation, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, is this guy Lee Daniels, and Tree, I see you on your microphone there.
I'm concerned that you side with her.
I side with her more so than I side with him and his explanation of the thing when he did that interview that he did with Don Lemon. And I'm sure you've seen that, right?
I have seen it, and I've seen her interviews as well, and one of the things that just concerned me was if you do a movie, there is a certain amount of there are a certain amount of press junkets that you are expected to go on.
Yeah, but expected or have to do. I mean, the way she told the story is that wasn't in her contract. She was relaxing with her family. She had been working a lot, and they wanted her to do all of these things and not pay her. You know, it's almost like it's an unwritten rule that she's supposed to do these press junkets. And she says, you know, she wasn't buying into that.
I think that when you do your contract, it's important for you to have a team of people around you that can ensure that you don't sign up for something that you're not really committed to.
Right.
And so from a professional perspective, like, I don't think that you side with her. Like, being politically correct is one thing, but honoring your commitments that you signed up for, because she only made $50,000 for Precious, which I found.
Right. In relative terms, she made $50,000 for a movie she won an Oscar for, and Judge Judy making $45 million to go crazy on people every day.
Right. But that's what she signed up for. And I get the impression that her husband, or I don't know if they're married, but that he's really in her ear a lot.
Yeah, I think he's her manager.
She needs to sit down somewhere because now she sounds not well.
Yeah, and the whole conversation, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, the whole thing that's been thrown out there now is that Lee Daniels originally offered her the role of Cookie. I don't know where the hell that's coming from, because I don't see that at all.
Let me tell you right now, nobody wanted to see her ass as Cookie. Okay, and you definitely would have had to bring what's the man's name that should have been Lucius?
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, because no, Monique.
Yeah,
come on, baby.
I don't know where that came from. I mean, she said it, so I guess there has to be some truth to it.
Can you imagine watching Empire and seeing Gabby and Monique in a scene, and all your mind is doing is going to Precious? No, ma'am. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's not a good look. That's not a good look with those two main characters in the movie Precious. And I also, which flashes in my mind, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, is Monique pulling her fur coat back and showing her ass to the world. That wouldn't have been cute either. So I'm thinking that if this is true, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, that the character would have been totally different. You know, it would have been more so on her attitude and her snappy replies, retorts to people, and her wit as compared to the sexiness Taraji Henson. You see what I'm saying? Like, the character probably would have been totally different, written totally different, and had a different persona if it was Monique as compared to Taraji Henson, right?
I don't believe that she would have been as adorned as Taraji's rendering of Cookie is.
Well, People
really love her.
Well, let me say this now. Monique is talented. I mean, it would have been totally different, but I believe that they probably would have freaked it some type of way where we still would have been interested. It wouldn't have been, flashing your ass and the sexiness of Cookie, but I don't know. This guy, Lee Daniels, obviously he's very smart. He's a talented guy. What he does as a director is if he had this in his notion to make Monique, that Cookie character, it probably would have worked. It would have been totally different, but I'm thinking it probably would have still worked some kind of way.
Okay.
You don't agree?
I don't want to see that. I mean, the Stewies
well,
are
but you don't want
in.
you don't want to see that because you have seen the show the way that it's been coming across already. Like, imagine if you never seen the first 7 or 8 episodes of this Empire TV show, and it would have been done totally different from its origins. I mean, you don't know what to compare it to, is my point.
Douglas, how about
Am I thinking too much?
No, how about this? Corporate Brother. Corporate Brother says, Monique and Precious on the screen together doesn't make me think about the movie. It makes me put down my ribs and hit the treadmill. Bye.
Oh, that's not cute. That's not cute. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Caller, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What's your name? Where you calling from? What you want to talk about?
So what's happening? Steve from Huntsville.
T from Huntsville. What up, baby?
Man, enjoying the show as always. Man, a couple quick thoughts on the lack of integrity and credibility of the four-letter network. When you're a company that big and you allow your personality to say certain slick things and
things that are really inappropriate, that really means you feel that way. That's a reflection of you. When you allow a guy to go off on a guy for, making sure his business is straight, that's a business decision Jameis Winston made. Same thing Johnny Manziel did. And he felt a different way about that, but he went off on Jameis. I can Ben Roethlisberger getting those 3 red cases. I mean, it's been long and forgotten. It doesn't get mentioned. But to this day, they still talk about Kellen Winslow saying he was a soldier on the field. I mean, I don't think it's about the act. It's about the people, and they choose to linger on to certain things certain people do. When Sean Taylor got killed in his house, in his bedroom, with his child and wife in the room, this man came on the air next day and said, well, when he lived like that, he was going to die that way.
Yeah.
That man was a bad guy. He was in the damn house with his kid, man.
Who said
he didn't get in trouble for it. It was okay because the people that he worked for feel the same way, and it's jacked up. And all I'm saying is those people are going to do what they do. Don't sweat that. But at the end of the day, don't take it in and believe it and give them power over you. Listen to what they're saying and critique it, question it, because it's not always the truth, and it's a biased opinion, and it's a little bit slanted. One more quick thought, Kirby Puckett, the day after he died, same thing. Laughed and said it was a woman beater, didn't even give it a day to let it cool off. I mean, and it's okay for certain people, and other people do other things, they let it slide. Brett Favre cheated on his wife that had cancer with a woman for the New York Jets, they let it go. You don't hear anything about it. So it is what it is. They are what they are. And like the masculinity of Lee Daniels, I'm gone.
I appreciate the call, T. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Yeah, man. I mean, I think inherent biases, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, inherent biases come across all the time in media. And 9 times out of 10, you can't prove it, but you can feel it, okay? You can definitely feel it. And, I mean, that's just the game. I mean, it's really as simple as that. And a lot of people, based on their upbringing or the way that they view a story, it'll come across in their reporting. And, I mean, that's why the alternative you have is the Doug Stewart Show. And a lot of times what I say and the way that I view a story is coming from my perspective, which has been basically put together based on my life experiences. And so, yeah, I see it all the time, man. There's clearly some bias with some of these analysts on the Puppet Factory, and that's why I call it the Puppet Factory. And the reason I call it the Puppet Factory is you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Is a lot of the guys that come on there, I've had conversations with them off air and talk with them about a topic, maybe on the 2 Live Stews or something like that. And then when they get on national TV on the Puppet Factory, then they're playing the Puppet Factory game. And that's just not cool. And I mean, one thing about me, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and people ask me all the time, do you have any regrets for how things ended up at your last job? And if you know anything about the 2 Live Stews, for 10 years, okay, for over 10 years, we had a tremendous relationship with our station and all of the executives that worked at said station and all of the people, the networks that syndicated us. And, I mean, just fantastic. Then the last couple of years, the station was bought and brand new people came in, and the rest is history. It's as simple as that. So if you talk to anybody at that former station for 10 years that worked with us for 10 years, you will know that we had a great relationship. But the last couple of years, you know, new people came in, new attitude. They wanted to do things different. And if you talk to those people, they probably think that the 2 Live Stews are like these mean-spirited guys or whatever, but it's not that case. So it's always 2 sides to the story and telling you that little story. And this thing with Monique and then Jungle or That Ninja just called up and talked a little bit about, or T from Huntsville just called up and talked about biases and how one thing is reported this way or one thing is looked at this way, and it's just obvious. It's blatant. I mean, that happens. That's real. That's real. And I do. Based on what I've heard about this story about Monique and about this Lee Daniels guy and hearing what he had to say about it in the little interview that he did with Don Lemon and hearing Monique comment about the same story with Don Lemon, I kind of side with her more. I do. Because I know how it works. And, this Lee Daniels guy is talking about she's got to play ball, and she's saying that, she made a request. She made a request. If y'all asking me to do this, can we get this? Or if y'all asking me to do it, if you're asking me, that means that I don't have to do it. It's not in my contract. And I decide or I decline to do it. Why are you mad at me? And she also talked a lot about, the fact that in her mind, and this is something else, this whole playing the game stuff, trust me, I've seen so much of it. In her mind, her work should speak for itself. A lot of times in life, that doesn't apply. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. And the whole thing about her going over and doing this promotional tour at the Cannes Film Festival and her declining, I probably would have done it. Hell, I'm going to France. I probably would have done it, but I understand her motives in saying and doing what she did. I do. And once again, this guy, Lee Daniels, man, the way he came off, man, ooh, them dudes right there. That type of guy right there, you got to watch them. I'm not going to call a guy Uncle Tom and some of the comments that he made, this Lee Daniels guy, but some of his comments were very Tomish. I mean, they're right on the edge. Yeah. And telling Monique how the game is played. And he also made some comments to the effect of, well, if people saying what I told Monique about playing ball and this, that, and the other are Uncle Tomish, then you can call me whatever you want. Hey. Not cool, though. Not where I'm from. See, I'd rather have my dignity than any money in the world. Period. Serious. And that's kind of how I understand and how I kind of relate to what Monique is saying and why I'm kind of more on her side about the whole controversy. Because it is a controversy. It's been all over the news over the last couple of weeks. And in my life, especially with this radio thing, I've kind of, in a twisted kind of way, had same type of situations arise. And no matter what, man, all the gold in the world ain't worth my self-respect, my dignity, man. Period. And it kind of sounds like that's what Monique is talking about. Now, I probably would have gone to France. But that's because I wanted to. And, Monique saw it a different way. So, I don't know. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Doug Stewart Show, man. I really do appreciate it. Shots out. Shouts out to everybody that listens to the show, man, to all of the dogs and the poodles, all of the Stewies, man. Thank you so much for being totally interactive. Pass the word and tell at least one person about the Doug Stewart Show. I really, really would appreciate it. Shouts out to your tree for all that you did today on the Doug Stewart Show, adding your commentary. I really, really appreciate it. I like that. I like we got that new feature now on the show where Tree can come in and chime in and give a lady's perspective or just a cool chick perspective. Shouts out to Waterhead Walter. Great job today, man. Dwayne Bassan, Gerald Oliveri, thank you so much for doing all that you do. I really, really do appreciate it, guys. My engineering guys. Yeah, we'll do it again tomorrow for a Throwback Thursday. Same Doug time, same Doug channel. Peace.